Hey kawan, welcome to EDCReady. Today we have a second knife disassembly of this knife right here. This is the Ganzo F754. Yeah, that's it, 440C. It's by Ganzo. A couple of days ago, I already shot and uploaded the video of a full takedown. It's the longest video I've ever made, 47 minutes. But today I want to show you how to quickly disassemble one of these bad boys. Now, a couple of things: that this is running on a G-lock, which is very similar. In fact, it's exactly the same as a Ganzo axis lock. So whatever you see here, you can kind of do on an axis lock and vice versa. And this video is very much influenced by Nick Shabazz, as he also disassembled a Ganzo axis lock, and he does it in the shortcut way as well. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, while I am unscrewing this, do check out my description box down below. You can see how you can support the channel. You can also check out my affiliate links, and then you also have a promo code thomastools.com.my, so check that out. So I've taken out the screw on this side, and you know what, while that's happening, I'm just going to take off the clip screws here. This will just make it a little bit flat, so I can work on it on both sides. This part here is not necessary. You don't actually need to take these screws out or the clip out, but I just feel like it's gonna make the disassembly just a little bit easier. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I'm doing this video. The first of which is that I feel that, you know, just to make life a little bit easier, I want to show you guys how to take this apart where you don't need to tear the whole thing down. Second of it is that these washers are out of tolerance. So you can see here the blade centering is not center. It's better if the washers are flipped around. I know, because I've tried it before, and then they don't really come back in the same orientation, or they don't come back well in it doesn't recenter, and the action is not as good if it's accidentally flipped around. So that is it right there. So without further ado, let's push this bad boy out. Now, from what I know, you should be able to just push this pin out if you pull back the axis lock, and then as there is no pressure, just push this bad boy out. Let's use that. Okay, let's see now. Now, from what I remember, I believe the the pivot here is actually locked in here, because the liners and then the scales don't really well, they match up, but they're really tight. So let's see if I can just, there we go, push this out like that, and it's out. And yeah, I didn't mess this up. Okay, there you go. So you're gonna see that it has two washers here and over here. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to make sure I know which side came out from which side, so that I can flip them around. Okay, so this is on this side, and then this was on the other side right here. So I'm going to stick it like that. And now what I'm going to do is just wipe it down a little bit, and then reapply some lube, and then hopefully everything goes back to normal, which is a lot easier said than done. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to start pushing it in from this side. Now, this is a non-free spinning pivot, which means that there is a D shape to the pivot right there. I'm just going to find the right spot, and then it should go into place. Now, what I mentioned just now, where the scales don't really sit perfect, there we go. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, with it in, so what Nick Shabazz does is that he adds a little bit of surface tension using the oil, and then he sticks the blade in with the washers. But I actually found out possibly an easier way to do it, okay, which is I'm gonna put it in slightly and then assemble it one washer at a time, okay, one washer at a time, and then sandwich the blade in the washer, between the washer. So I kind of build it like a sandwich, if you know what I mean. I think it's better if I show it to you. Okay, so I'm gonna put some lube down here. There's already lube there, but I'm just gonna add a little bit to create some more surface tension. This is gonna go in like so. Alright, just gotta align it properly. Now that's aligned. Gonna add a little bit lube up top. Alright, so now what I want to do now is stick the blade in while the washer is in place. And just put a little bit of lube here. Nice. Alright, stick the blade in and see if you can have it lined up. Push. So sometimes what happens is there's a little bit of tension from the axis lock. I'm just going to pull that back a little bit. Then you can push it through like that. Perfect. Now the next question is putting this guy back in. So let's do the same thing in reverse. Let's pull it back a little bit. Let's pull this down a little bit. Let's add some oil here, some oil there. And then this is where some tweezers will come in very handy. Alright, so now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to slot it in between there. And then what I'm going to do is, using this, just adjust it into place like so, and hopefully it will go all the way through just like that. Perfect. Okay, let's see now. It's hanging up a bit. Let's push it in from this side. Maybe the axis lock is in place, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to try something else. I'm going to take just a little bit, a little piece of paper here. See if I can. There we go. Now it's almost perfectly in place. See if you can push all the way through. Pull the axis lock back a bit. Sorry, the G lock. Okay, so there is a little bit of resistance. I am not exactly sure what's holding it back. Let me just get a closer look. I think the washer, yeah, it's just not in perfectly flush. So I'm gonna push that in a little bit, see if it goes through now. And yeah, and that's all the way through. Alright, pretty simple. Let's add a little bit of Loctite, because these pivots do tend to want to come out a little bit. Super easy. We are only 7.5 minutes in. I'm sure if I was not doing a lot of talking, I would be able to do this a little bit faster. But it's definitely less of a headache than the 47-minute disassembly video that I uploaded a couple of days ago. Alright, now let's just screw everything in. Just like so. Make sure everything is tight. Now, before we start adjusting it, centering is spot on. Let's get the clip in first. So we have this side here. Now I don't want to fully tighten it because I do still want to adjust it. If I was a bit more of a less lazy person, I would Loctite these clip screws as well, but I'm not. Tighten that, tighten that, tighten that. Oh yeah, that's tight. Moving back on to, let's close all these. My lube, this is by the way Breakthrough Lube. A lot of people have been asking what kind of lube I use. Breakthrough Lube, it was suggested to me by Yiren from The Polished Edge. It was a really good knife sharpener. So if you want your knives to be professionally sharpened, check out that guy. Alright, let's switch this back up to a T8. So what I've pretty much done is that I've taken apart this knife as if I took apart an integral knife. Alright, so let's adjust it. Still centered. Okay, there's a lot of, not a lot, there is a good amount of blade play. So think about these kind of locks, these sliding bar kind of locks, like an axis lock, like the G lock. You have to adjust it from both sides. Alright, there's no blade play. And does it drop? Oh yeah. Nice. It's a little slow on the drop, but it still drops. And there is just the tiniest amount of blade play. These kind of locks require the slightest of adjustments. No play. slides down. Still no play. Alright, so next up, what I want to do is I am just going to lube up the back of the blade here, where it slides up against the axis lock. Alright, so hopefully that will just make it just a tiny bit smoother. That's smooth. However, it's not completely drop shutty as I would hope for. Centering is still good. Right, let's just loosen this up just the tiniest amount, just like that. Still no blade play, and it drops extremely smooth. Nice. So that is how you quickly disassemble an axis lock type lock or a sliding bar type lock, and in this case it is the Ganzo F754. Thank you guys, and always stay ready.